Right, so I've got my herbs. I'm going to make a beautiful barbecue sauce. Barbecue sauce is generally sort of ribs, you know, chicken thighs maybe. And I suppose I just want to show you that it can be a lot more. You can barbecue sauce anything. So, you know, I've got a whole leg of lamb. There ain't no mucking about with that, is there? I've got the ribs, absolutely, because they're a winner, aren't they? I've got a chicken that I've basically just cut down the carcass. You can use a pair of scissors if you want, and opened it out like a book. So what we do is we get a knife and we very crudely cut through the thigh and the leg right to the bone. That way it will let the heat in and the flavour of the barbecue sauce in, and it will give you some nice crispy bits around the leg. With the lamb, what I'm going to do is score about 1 centimetre deep from the top to the bottom. And again, this is to create sort of more surface area, and but also when you cook it, it's going to kind of concertina out, and you're going to get the flavour in these little bits here. So you get that lovely crispy outside, flavour in there, and obviously the meat towards the bone will be much more sweet and silky. So I'm going to use about 4 or 5 cloves that I'm just going to put in the pestle and mortar. Right, really important spice in this. I want about a teaspoon heaped of cumin. So get that in there. I want about 2 tablespoons of fennel seeds. Right, lovely and fragrant, really good with red and white meats. And then I want a big generous sort of teaspoon of black pepper and 2 or 3 teaspoons of salt. Now what I want to do is just bash all of that up, crack it. The thing is, there's nothing quite like doing this when you bash up spices. You know, if you buy it already sort of pre-ground, they're sort of stale, like when you have a packet of cereal open for a couple of weeks and it just tastes miserable. Right, I'm absolutely fine with a few whole ones, cracked ones, right? That's what we're sort of looking for. Nice sort of floury spice base there. Dead simple. Now, let's get the chicken out. To get your spices in there, I want to get a bit of herbage going. I want a big handful of rosemary. Good with all the meats. Fantastic. I've got bay leaves, sort of 10 or so nice fresh bay leaves in there like that. And then I want to get some thyme, put all those lovely tips off, get them in there. And then garlic, a whole bulb, and then I want the zest of 1 orange, just peel it off. Brilliant flavour in the orange. And just chop it up. Not bothered about some big bits, not bothered about the skin, right, because it's all going to fall off on the barbecue and it would have done its work by then. Pick it up in there with the bay and the fennel seeds. Great flavours. Smoked paprika, bit of a win-win as far as your barbecue is concerned. I want 4 heaped teaspoons in there. That lovely smoked paprika gives it that completely different dimension, which is brilliant. And then I want to use half a bottle of cheap balsamic vinegar. Right, what I need to add to that is my orange juice. Squeeze in that orange juice. And then, this is where it all starts getting a little bit touchy for me. Get your organic ketchup and put a whole bottle in. You can put passata in there or whizzed up tin tomatoes if you want, but it just hasn't got the stickiness and the clagginess. And then all I've got to add to that is extra virgin olive oil, about 8 tablespoons. What I love about this is using the cloves, the fennel seeds, the cumin, the smoked paprika, the lovely fragrance of bay, rosemary, thyme. You know, this is what's making something really beautiful. And when you're eating it, sort of, the flavours are changing in your mouth. Let's have a little taste. It's really good. So all I have to do now is rub it, give it a really good rubbing. And that's what flavour's all about. Get that in there. Right, we're not mucking about, straight in there, get your fingers in there and sort of massage it about. And then the next one is the chicken. Get that sauce and rub it all over, under the legs, the breasts, the wings, turn it around, lovely. And then we've got our ribs, which just need to be literally turned over. And you know, that ketchup, dare I say, just gives it that consistency of like, stick to me, baby. So what I want to do is cook these for 1 hour and a quarter. That means that the flavour really permeates And then also, it's a job done, a job out of the way. You can get on with drinking beer and lighting barbecues, and rest assured that when you do put that in the barbecue and it's gone golden and crisp, there's none of this kind of is it cooked, isn't it cooked. All I have to do now, tin foil up. So the tip is, put this in an oven for about an hour and a quarter at about 180. I'll come back to it, I'm gonna go and light the barbecue. Brilliant. Right, so I went to an antique shop the other day and I was having a little route around and there was quite a lot of old junk there. And under sort of a lean door, I saw this little key poking out. And then I sort of had another look and I turned it around and I saw this bit and I thought, ooh, what's that? And then next to it was that, right? And I realised it's a spit roaster, an old spit roaster. And it, you know, it's got to be over 100 years old. And then I wound up the key, because it's, you know, it's obviously mechanical, and wind up, and inside I opened it and I was like, it was all perfectly brass and beautiful and everything worked. Look at everything moving, all the little gadgets, all the little bits, all hand blooming cut, absolutely beautiful. I haven't actually used it yet, but you put your little spike on here, take this to the end, do it up, and then you put your leg of lamb or your chicken sort of on here, and you can see how very slowly this is moving around, but that's a perfect speed for sort of a bit of meat over some little cinders. And although, you know, that's a 1 in a million find, you can get spit roasters on the internet or really good independent cooking shops. And, you know, spit roasting is mega, because as the fat comes out of the chicken or the lamb or whatever it is, the birds, the game, as the fat's melting and going crispy, it's sort of a melting around itself, and it's sort of like self-basting. And that is the genius way to cook stuff. So I'm going to give this its maiden trip today. Hopefully it'll work. Brilliant. Right, barbecue's cool. Got my lovely meat out of the oven. I've gone for it and I've dug a little trench and I've got this spit roast. I'm not sure if it's going to work or not. And then over here, you need to control the heat. Like, you can't just go, you know, when you cook food on the hob, a gas hob or a roasting oven, you don't just put it on full whack all the time, do you? So what I do to control it is I get my coals and I have a few scattered coals here, and then I push it up to a pile here, right? And that's your really searing, fast, hot, you know, little thin steaks, couple of minutes. And then things like sausages, you can start there for 45 seconds and then just move them into the middle and then just move them down to the slightly cooler end. And that way you have crisp on the outside, nice and golden and cooked through. So hot, cool. Doesn't matter what barbecue you got, tall to low coals, and then you're in control, right? Okay, before I get into the meat, I'm going to show you a quick little recipe. Get a little cross, cut 3/4 of the way down into an onion, open it up, put a little bit of rosemary, thyme in there, and then just a little wodge of butter, like that, and a pinch of salt, pepper, bit of tin foil, wrap it up like a jacket potato, straight in the ashes, and it'll be delicious. And then also, just because you're barbecuing doesn't mean you can't steam or boil. You get yourself some nice greens. Why wouldn't you want some nice greens when you're having a barbecue? Rip them up, get a little bit of tin foil, just fold it over like this, fold it over like that, and give it a good pinch. And what you're left with is like sort of a charred envelope. And then in there, salt, pepper, a bit of olive oil, right? Shake it all about. Get yourself some lemon, put the whole lemons in there as well, and then just close up and pinch in. That'll go onto the barbecue, and after about 4, possibly 5 minutes, turning it over, that'll steam and wilt, and it'll be delicious. And then my meat here, which smells and looks incredible, all I do is dip it in the sauce and the marinade and put it on the barbie. And the same for this one here, on the barbie. With my chicken, exactly the same. We'll look after that. We've got this juice here. I want to pour all this juice. Look, all that lovely resting juice that's come out of all those different meats. Now, I want to try my spit roast I don't know if it's going to work. I don't know, it might be too big. I'm so excited. This one goes in. Right, so that stabs into it. So you've got a little bit of traction control there. And then I want to put this in. Please work, please work, please work. Otherwise it was a waste of my excitement. Ah, oh, it's hot. It's working. Look at it. That has completely made my day. Now, see all that lovely juice that's come out? Let's have a little taste. Now, you can put that on the fire if you want, and that'll start to reduce down a little bit. You get this, and you just pat this on the meat. And things might burn and they might tear, but just keep turning that baby. And look, you've got a burnt, charred bit there. What do? We pat it again. That's where it's all at. As far as this lamb's concerned, he can have a little bit of a baste up as well. Look at that. And the lovely thing about rotisserieing, that as it turns, you know, you have the ability to be able to sort of, you know, brush it with flavours. Whew. Let's get some chicken action going. Chicken. Yep. Cut that thigh up. Just get it in there. The meat, before we even started blackening it, was melt in your mouth, fall off the bone. Cut it in half, and then into a chod. Incredible colour. Just drizzle, bit of oil, tiny squeeze of lemon, with a few little bits of fresh parsley. That's only just a start, of course, because we got barbecued ribs. The ribs are an absolute joy. Look at that. Right, I know I can just pull that lovely meat. That'll come off. Delish. Just going to cut down the ribs. You can do double ribs, single ribs. There we go. Just cut it all up, hack it up. Just layer your ribs up like that. And ribs, you know, they're not subtle, delicate things. You know, they are what they are. Just love them for it. I've got my greens here, which have had about 5 minutes, I guess. And look in there, what a sight. Spinach, handful of rocket, watercress, you know, some Swiss chard. Beautiful. Oh, the onions. Now, let's see if I've done all right on these. Oh. All right, I'm guilty. I burnt it. To be honest, I should have left the skin on. But we take off that completely burnt outside, and inside here, that is an onion. And I will give that to Mr. Chicken Plate, and that's delicious. You won't have better onions than that. And then the only thing I've got to do now is my lamb. Looks amazing. Absolutely amazing. All right, let's have a little go. It's too good. See, it's slightly blushing in the middle. It's had an hour and a quarter in the oven, been on the rotisserie for 20 minutes, and it's still got a lovely blush. Absolutely brilliant. Look at that, man. Look at the juices. That is too good. That has made my culinary year.